So I think it was the end of July, early August, when I stumbled upon this Instagram post that allowed me to go down a rabbit hole. If you know, you know. And I learned about this conference slash retreat slash adult summer camp called Camp. And I was like, this looks amazing. It's exactly what I need, as well as it just seems really cool. And I'm looking to connect with more business owners, and it seemed like my vibe. However, I didn't think that it was smart to make that financial investment in that moment in time. It's a couple $1,000s. And so I kind of sat there and I was like mulling over it. Like, should I spend it? Should I just make the investment? I don't really think it's a wise choice. And, this year I've really just spent more time being aware of my energy, the energy of people, of opportunities, and not to make a rash decision or a decision from the practical side of me. Instead, I'm leaning more into my intuition. I am paying attention to the pings that the universe will send you, as well as your intuition. And so I sat there and I was like, okay, is there a way that I can go for free? And my first thought was, what if I see if the organizer like needs me to work the event, if she needs some extra help? And that didn't really feel great. It's something that I obviously would have been good at just because my South Node is in Virgo. It's very organized, detail oriented, operations driven, like comes in and fixes things, like really behind the scenes. But that's really not the focus of my work, of like this lifetime. And I recognize this. And anytime I feel like I'm kind of going into that space, I ask myself, is this something that'll allow me to be more creative, tap into my intuition, my psychic abilities, strengthen my spiritual connection, et cetera, which is all themes with my North Node in Pisces. And if it's a no, then I need to sit back. And so I was like, this doesn't feel right. It felt kind of sticky. I didn't feel very genuine to approach kind of how I would not work with, but like how I'd approach the email to be like, okay, like I want to go for free, but what would it look like? And so then I thought, like, what if she needs a teacher? And in like my logical brain, in like my operating system, I was like, no, she does events for a living. She's not going to be doing something last minute. Like there, I just was very one track, right? My neural pathways were very set in stone. And I didn't even think of like, oh, what if like one of the instructors like can't attend anymore for some reason, or she actually does need someone. And so I kind of sat with it and I was like, I would feel better if I was able to teach something. And that way it's a networking opportunity for me. I get to attend sessions, enjoy camp. And so I messaged the founder, Sonia, of Camp. She also hosts these really cool markets called Unique Markets in LA, Portland, and Washington, D.C. And I was like, hey, I just wanted to reach out just in case you needed like someone to teach like yoga, wellness, mindfulness, astrology. Please let me know. I would love to be able to teach something if you do have like availability. The email went off into the ethers and I just let it go. I was like, if it's meant for me, it's meant for me. Trust in divine timing and just see where it goes. And 3 days later, I get an email back from her. She's like, actually, I might need a yoga instructor. And so on like the camp website, they give you like a sample itinerary. And I was like, oh, they have like some form of like body movement and exercise. And so that's kind of why I mentioned yoga. And it's still one of the modalities that I'll teach for like retreats and like team building, et cetera, et cetera. And she's like, funny thing, your email came in right as the yoga instructor that was supposed to go on the trip had emailed, or maybe they were exchanging emails back and forth that maybe she didn't want to be there the entire time or she couldn't make it. I can't remember. And she's like, then I saw you, who is also Asian American. and really excited about attending camp, has all these ideas. And I was like, let's like connect. And I was like, oh my God. Like I'm literally screaming inside as I read this email because I'm like, this is it. I'm going to get to go. We hop on a call. We have such a great time talking. I'm so excited. I have all these ideas about the different workshops that I want to do. And so I create like special workshops for her. And really, it's just all this is from a bit of luck, like timing, divine timing, and following my intuition and really feeling into the energy of things. Because when we're thinking about manifestation, it's really about picking up the energy of things and people, of situations all around us. And I just got that ping of like, why don't you message her? And then I sat and was a little bit more intentional and thoughtful. And I was like, okay, what is something that's really going to get you excited when you think of like a way for you to attend but not pay? So I really encourage everyone who's listening to this podcast to really be open to the signs that are happening all around you. Be open to what your intuition is sharing with you because you never know where it's going to lead. Okay, so I want to share a little bit more about the workshops that I did. They're really special. I've never done workshops like this before. I combined the workshops that I've done in the past together. So my two workshops were how to use yoga to self-soothe your nervous system, and the other one was abundance activation. And in these classes, I taught a little bit about energy, about being an empath. We did some heart openers. I talked about how to make space for abundance, like how to use breath work to soothe your nervous system, kind of just like throwing everything I did for these two workshops out there. And then, of course, we moved our bodies to kind of get into our body to really understand like what parts of us need more of our attention. And then, of course, I taught like a regular yoga class. And then at the very end of the conference, I had the opportunity of the closing ceremony to share a little bit about the astrological forecast. So get this. On the call with Sonia, when I'm talking about sharing about like what I do, who I am, I tell her that the timing of her retreat is actually like really magical. It's magical because it's during Mercury retrograde in Virgo. And on our last day, it's a new moon in Virgo. So people attending camp this time around really are focused on their holistic wellness, rethinking like how they want to live, why they're doing the work that they do, and having some big thoughts around work. Because Virgo is one of the signs related to career, around working, about finding like work-life balance, and rethinking perfectionism, any rigidity and control that you have in your life that doesn't serve you, and really evaluating like, are you working just for the sake of working? And how can you work smarter, not harder? And when I told her this, her mind was blown away. And I was just so delighted, excited that I would have the opportunity to share astrology in such a perfect way for people who don't have a lot of knowledge around it, for people who maybe not like they don't practice a lot of yoga. They don't do meditation or energy exercises or journaling. And so really was such perfect timing. Now get this, at camp, I have a feeling, I think it was like Tuesday night. I have the feeling that there might be a lot of Virgos at camp. I sat next to a Virgo on the bus. But also tangent on the plane from LA to Portland, I saw someone like in the crowd boarding the same flight as me. And I was like, I wonder if she's going to camp. I really like her dress, super cool. And she sits next to me and she has all these printouts for camp. I literally was like, of course, picking up on that energy. I literally LOL'd. So back to the bus ride. I'm sitting next to this person and she's also a Virgo. We're talking about work, around like what we're hoping to create, questions that she has, like, and I just give an example. Like, I was like, as an example, let's say you're a Virgo. She's like, I am a Virgo. So from that one point, and I guess like interacting with people, because there's 40 people that came on this retreat, and about like 6 people who are like staff organizing and planning all these incredible experiences for us. And Tuesday night, I was getting ready for bed. I was like, I wonder if there are more Virgos. I feel like there are, but I was just like, from time to time, I still get, not from time to time, a lot of the time, I still get imposter syndrome. And I'm like, I'm not going to throw myself under the bus with people that I don't know may like astrology. And during this entire time, like we arrive on a Monday, we leave on a Thursday, like I only mention I'm a career astrologer when it comes up. I just kind of like sit back and just like, you know, just like let things unfold. If people are like, oh, like, what else do you do? Do you do something else? Then I'm like, oh, I'm also a career astrologer, blah, 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 blah. And people are like, are you going to do a career session, like an astrology session? I'm like, no, because I don't want to spoil the surprise on the last day. And then at breakfast on Wednesday, the same girl who I sat next to, rather woman, she comes up to me. She's like, I've been talking to people and so many other people here are Virgos. And I'm just like, of course, because I see this with people who get reports. I see this with people who book readings with me. It's always a pattern. There's always a group of people that come through that are experiencing the same like themes in their lives, same questions, same challenges, same opportunities. Even with like in-person events that I do, there's always a synchronicity. There's always a theme that runs through these people. And a theme for camp this year was root down, to feel grounded. And I really kind of extrapolate that meaning to get to know yourself better and to kind of reconfigure things in your life so that you feel more stable. And Virgo energy is all about that. It's like, how can you have like better routines that serve you, from wellness to work, like from one spectrum to the other, from one area of the life to the other. And so on the last day, I ended up finding out, yes, we have a lot of like Virgo suns, lots of birthdays happening. There's a birthday at camp as well. And actually, I have a strong feeling that if we ran everyone's reports, a lot of people would have like their moon, their rising, or other key placements in Virgo as well. So I thought that was a very, very fun synchronicity that really just was so amazing. And some other things I wanted to share about camp for those who are like, wait, tell us more about this experience you had. So I basically went to summer camp for 4 days. We had no electronics, no devices, jam-packed schedule. Obviously, go to what you want, relax when you need, also built in time for relaxation, for downtime. Some of my favorite classes that I took really involved moving my body. I've been wanting to do dance classes for so long, and I got to do 2 dance classes. I also got to take an improv class. And honestly, these classes were so spectacular, so amazing, because it got me out of my comfort zone. It allowed me to kind of like really like move my body, understand my body in a way that didn't make me feel self-conscious, which was really fun. So the dance class, our instructor, Karen, she was like, dance can be for yourself or it can be performative. The latter is usually how we view dance. And she was like, but for this session, let me show you how dance can be just for you. So she taught us like dance by just like drawing letters, like with like our hands, and then with our nose, then with like other body parts. So then you start to incorporate like movement in more ways than one. And then all of a sudden you're basically interpretive dancing, but you didn't feel self-conscious. It was so fun because we had a purpose of like drawing out like the letters and then drawing out a word of like how we felt. And my word was joy. And so I drew it with my hands. I drew it with my foot. I drew it with my nose. I drew it with my head, my hips, my whole body. And it was just so liberating to experience dance in that way. Now, the other session was led by Allison, and it was improv. And I was surprised that improv actually taught me a lot about relationships and communication. She did a lot of fun exercises before we did improv, and we didn't have to do improv as a single person, like alone as an individual, which was what I thought we would be doing. Because I remember taking an acting class in middle school, and we'd have to do monologues and get up like in front of people by ourselves. And oh my gosh, it was just so nerve-wracking. But this one was like really fun, a lot of team building. And the exercises we did showed us that if we're communicating something and the other party doesn't understand, the onus is on us, the person who's sharing the information, to make sure that the other party, the other individuals understand clearly. And I thought some of the exercises we did around that was really fun. Another thing that we learned was like, make your partner look good. We did like partner exercises, group exercises. And that's something that's true for like relationships, romantic, like personal, professional friendships, family dynamics. Like, make the other person look good and all is well. And then the other learning that I had, it's escaping my mind right now. Um, but really, when we're not trying, I guess, like when we're not trying so hard, then we actually can be funny. It actually is fun, because she said that when she does sessions like this and there's someone who has done like improv or has done comedy or think that they're funny, they try too hard, then it falls flat. And I was like, this is true. This is true. So this class, the improv class, was like the most uncomfortable for me, because I was like, oh, getting in front of people, being uncomfortable. We also sang. I was like, oh, I feel so uncomfortable. But it was so good, because when we do uncomfortable things, we learn that yes, we can quote unquote fail on something, not be good at something, but come out the other side feeling victorious, or feeling like we've learned something, not feeling like as silly, or knowing that we can be silly and it's not a big deal. So I'll link in the show notes an article that I wrote on LinkedIn that details more about the experiences that we had. But really, I highly recommend going to camp, because it is super, super fun. And there were so many beautiful bespoke brand moments, where we got like gifts and surprises. And as a Leo, love gifts. My Taurus placements, my Libra placements. I know that you will love this as well. Any of you who have sun, moon, or rising in Leo, Taurus, or Libra, love gifts. So I definitely appreciated it. But really, the big takeaway was the connection that I had with others, my ability to embody my North Node and just show up and share like my talents, be able to hold space for others. It was really beautiful. I was inspired to do this more. I have been doing this more as well. And yeah, listening to your intuition is so crucial. Finding moments of quiet, spending time moving the body, spending time outside, meditating, doing mindful activities will really help to strengthen your intuition. And if you're curious to learn more about your North Node and your South Node, North Node is lessons you're learning in this lifetime, your purpose, and gives you some ideas about like career paths that you can take. South Node is past lives, things that you're really good at. And if you're feeling stuck in your career, you're probably stuck in jobs that really embody the South Node. So if you're curious about your own North and South Node placements, I recommend that you go to my website, yoursaturn.com, to get your free career astrology report. And as always, you can upgrade your report to the expanded one, which has 15 plus pages. And you can always book a one-on-one reading with me as well. Okay, I hope you enjoy this episode. And if you liked it, I have other manifestation stories that I haven't shared yet that are kind of like in the back of my head. And if you're interested, let me know and I'll share more.